display. The EVP show keeps the drama in play. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Where the heroes rise and the legends grow. CJP brings the shots, you know. The EVP show is out of control.
What's going on, everyone? It's the EVP from the EVP show. I'm back here. Sorry, I'm running a little late tonight with the Raw Recap. Obviously, I was watching the end of the football game. My fantasy football life was at stake, and I obviously lost because the Chargers made it go into overtime. Oh, man, so frustrating. Jalen Hurts has 4 interceptions tonight. Had Joe Burrow on the bench. He went for like 30 fantasy points. So just a bad week football-wise. Just terrible decision making. I thought the Eagles were going to score there at the end. That would have put me ahead. Touchdown pass right there, but tough. But yeah, sorry guys. Like I said, I'm about almost an hour late. On the Raw Recap, so I do apologize about that, but we are live on the EVP show, my ex, and also Miami the Great's ex. So let's get into it. Let's talk about Raw tonight. It was very action-packed. It looks like we got the final card for Saturday night's main event, unless they add a match. There are 4 matches as of now that's added or on the card. I expect possibly could be one more, but I don't know. With it being Cena's last match, I mean, I'm sure they're gonna do like a whole big thing for Cena. But yeah. So tonight's Raw took place from a T-Mobile Center in Kansas City, Missouri. So it's, kind of fallout from, Survivor Series, and it's basically our Raw go-home show to Saturday night's main event, John Cena's last match. Tonight we're going to see the WWE Raw Tag Team Champions, AJ Styles and LWO Dragon Lee, defend against the War Raiders. The Judgment Day Finn Balor will also face off against Rey Mysterio tonight. So, the show basically opens up with a video package focused on Gunther beating LA Knight to earn the right to become John Cena's final opponent in the Last Time Is Now tournament. The commentators tonight are Joe Tessitore and Wade Barrett, as always. They welcome us to the show, and the ring general Gunther makes his way down to the ring. So yeah, he's got that new entrance, and he's ready to go. Gunther grabs a mic. He waits for the crowd to get all the John Cena chants out, and he tells the fans not to get their hopes up, chanting for Cena because he won't be here tonight. Gunther then says this is his time. Gunther then says as he walked to the ring, it dawned on him. Gunther then says by submitting LA Knight, he has earned the biggest honor of his career. Gunther says in 5 days, they showed the countdown with Cena's poster on the back, like close to the entrance, showing how much, like they were counting down like to the second, how much time John Cena had left before his last match with Gunther. He says in 5 days he would be the last opponent in the last match in the career of John Cena. Gunther then says 17 world championships, all the time on the road, hustle, loyalty, and respect. Gunther then says Cena is the greatest sports entertainer of all time. Gunther says Cena will face the best professional wrestler of all time, though. Gunther then tells them to put up the clock, which is a countdown to Saturday, as I spoke earlier. Gunther then says this way you know how much time you have to worship John Cena as your hero. Gunther then says a man who never gives up. Gunther then says beating Cena on Saturday is not enough. Gunther then says he will do what nobody ever did before. Gunther then says he is going to break John Cena's spirits. Gunther then says he is going to bully John Cena, then wrap his arms around Cena's neck and squeeze until there is no hustle, loyalty, and respect left. Gunther says he will force John Cena to give up. Gunther then stopped on the stage and looked at the countdown clock on the big screen. He then looked at his own watch and headed towards the back. So that's going to be the main event Saturday, Saturday night's main event. Gunther will be going up against John Cena in his final match. Will Gunther get the job done? So Tessitore talks about the backstage arrival of Rey Mysterio, Lyra Valkyria, Bayley, WWE World Tag Team Champions AJ Styles, Dragon Lee, and also the Raw WWE Women's Champion Stephanie Vacour, Rhea Ripley, and Io Sky. We then get a video package recapping Rhea Ripley and Io Sky fighting Charlotte and Alexa to a no contest. When the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi, interfered in the post-match brawl that involved the teams of Lyra and Bayley, Roxana, Raquel Rodriguez, and also Liv Morgan. So then they do a shout out to Obafemi that's in the crowd. He will also be at Saturday night's main event facing Cody Rhodes. He holds up the title belt and jaws into the camera. Wade Barrett hypes up Oba's match against the undisputed champion Cody Rhodes for Saturday night's main event. So that's going to be a big one. Io Sky then makes her way down to the ring for the first match of the night. She's accompanied by Rhea Ripley, and the Kabuki Warriors follow. We're going to have Io against the Pirate Princess Kairi Sane. The match starts with both women locking up and Sane missing a back fist. Sane then goes into the rope to stop Io from doing anything. Sane then cinches in a wrist lock, and Io hits an Irish whip, and she runs into a boot. Sane then hits a head scissors, but Io with a handspring to her feet. Io then hits a chop, and Sane responds with a sunset flip for a near fall. Both women then exchange near falls. Io then hits a La Magistral for a near fall. Io sends Sane to the apron. Sane goes up, leaps over Io. Sane hits a head scissors on Io. Io hits a back handspring followed by a leg sweep and a clothesline. Kairi goes to the floor, and Asuka gets on the apron to stop Io. Io then goes to the floor when Asuka moves out of the way, but Asuka cannot spit the miss because Rhea makes her way over to Asuka. Kairi then hits a forearm off the apron. We then get some posing, obviously from the Kabuki Warriors. Or no, that was actually from Io at that point. Kairi then tells Rhea to get out of the way so she can pick up Io. And Sane hits some chops against the apron and announce desk. Kairi then gets a near fall when back in the ring. Io then hits some forearms, but Sane pulls Io down by the hair. Sane then hits some forearms, then cinches in a single leg crab. Kairi then ties up the legs to add more pressure while Asuka dances on the floor. Asuka then drops Io on the middle rope while the referee talks to Sane. Sane then goes for a Boston Crab and locks it in, and Sane leans back. Sane then leans back and even more, and Io escapes and gets a near fall. Sane then goes for the sliding DDT, but Io hits a boot to the arm. Io then hits a showtie and a flapjack. Sane then reverse hits an Irish whip, and Io goes to the apron and kicks Sane. Io then hits a springboard drop kick, and then hits a running double knee strike in the corner, and she gets a near fall. Io goes to the turnbuckles for a moonsault, but Kairi hits a double sledge to the back and puts Io in the trio woe. So Kairi then goes up top after some kicks. Sane then hits a double stomp, and she gets a near fall. Sane then misses a back fist, and Io hits a round kick. Sane then lands on her feet to escape a butterfly X Factor, and Sane hits a sliding DDT. They then go to the apron, and Sane backdrops Io, but Io lands on her feet. Io then hits a German suplex on the apron, and Sane falls to the floor. Io then hits a Asai moonsault, then sends Sane back into the ring, and Sane misses a punch. Io then hits a round kick, and Sane falls to the mat. Io goes up top for a moonsault, but Sane rolls away, and Asuka drops Io onto the turnbuckles, and she falls into the Tree of Woe. Asuka then misses a kick on Rhea, and Rhea hits a thrust kick and sends Io over the ringside barrier. Io then hits a head scissors to counter a double stomp. Io then hits the moonsault for the 1, 2, 3. So Rio is on top. Io Sky gets a big victory. The winner of the match is Io Sky, accompanied by Rhea Ripley. We then see Paul Heyman's in the back with Brian Breaker and Bronson Reed, and also Logan Paul. Logan asks if anyone saw Ray slap him. He then says something needs to be done about it. Braun and Bronson then get up, and Braun says they will handle it. He then says they will do it tonight. Logan then says he would like to talk to Heyman for a second. Logan says this Ray situation is going to be handled tonight. Heyman then says Logan has backup now. Logan then says he appreciates it. He then says he wants to know if they can get in trouble, and he is their backup too. Heyman then said he didn't think he could respect Logan more, but he does. Heyman then gives Logan his brass knuckles just in case. They then just say just in case several times. So you know what that's gonna mean. You know, until we then see Rey Mysterio walking in the back for his match, and Adam Pearce is arguing with the New Day. We then see Byron Saxton in the balcony area with Lyra and Bayley. He asks them about the tag title picture. Bayley says the tag division is the strongest it's ever been. Kind of been talking about that over the last few streams. The women's tag team titles right now is really hopping. Bayley says the tag. She then says that means a lot to her. She says they want to start dipping their toes. She says they don't care who it is because they are not a team to mess with. Lyra then says Liv remembers losing to tag titles to her and what happens when she wins the titles again. So in the back, we get the War Raiders, Eric and Ivar, cut a promo and say they rise time and again. They say they are stronger than ever and they have shed their armor. They then say they head into the future without fear. And they then say your time to run and hide has ended. Rey Mysterio's music then hits, and he makes his way down to the ring for the next match of the night. So we're going to have the Judgment Day Finn Balor against the WWE Hall of Famer Rey Mysterio. The match starts off with Logan Paul attacking Rey as he makes his way down to the ring, and he sends Rey into the ring post. Logan then kicks Rey in the ring. Logan then hits some punches on Rey and then pulls out his brass knuckles and he puts them on. Logan then winds up and Rey kicks Logan's hand and Rey hits some punches. Logan then hits an elbow, then winds up again and Rey drops Logan in the knee and he falls into the ropes. Rey then sets up for a 619, but the hooded mystery person, the mystery guy that appeared at Survivor Series, is back. Obviously, no identity revealed again. He hits a super kick, and then he hits the stomp on Rey Mysterio. The mystery man leaves. The security chases the masked man to the back. And the singles match ends in a no contest. After the match, the referee helps Rey up, and Logan hits Rey with a punch. Obviously with the Nux. LA's Night's music hits, and he makes his way to the ring, and Logan leaves the ring. He tells Logan to stay there. He then says if that is Seth in the hoodie, he will be angry. He then says the group sucked more when he joined them. He said it is time for him to pay. He then says he doesn't want him to pay on Saturday or Friday. He then says he wants him to pay tonight in Kansas City. LA Knight then helps Rey to the back. Javon Evans is also shown in the crowd and has announced also for Saturday night's main event that AJ Styles and Dragon Lee will face Javon Evans and TNA's Leon Slater as the fourth match for Saturday night's main event. It's going to be a good one. The War Raiders then make their way down to the ring for the next match of the night. They're going after the tag titles versus Dragon Lee and AJ. The match starts off with AJ hitting a forearm into the corner, and Lee hits a leg sweep and with a hesitation kick. Lee then hits a drop kick for a near fall. Dragon Lee then cinches in a reverse chin lock on Eric, and AJ tags in. They then hit a double back elbow. Eric hits a forearm, and Ivar tags in. Eric then goes over to the top rope and to the floor, and Lee leapfrogs a charging Ivar. AJ then tags Lee, and Lee is caught on a cross body. Eric and Ivar then send AJ into the apron, and Eric is sent into the ringside barrier. Ivar then hits a cross body against the apron. Ivar then hits a back elbow and a headbutt. Ivar then hits an elbow to the top of the head. AJ then hits some forearms, and he escapes a slam. Ivar then hits a cartwheel and a spin kick of doom for a near fall. Eric then tags in Ivar, slams AJ, and Eric slams Ivar onto AJ for a near fall. Eric sits in a reverse chin lock. AJ then hits a forearm, and Eric hits a back body drop for another near fall. Ivar gets gives a hot tag to Eric. He hits a running back elbow for a near fall. Ivar cinches in a chin bar on AJ, and then another near fall. Eric tags in. He hits a knee after knocking Dragon Lee off the apron. Eric then gets another near fall. So then we get a tag back to Ivar, and Ivar hits some knees. Ivar then gets AJ up, but AJ gets to his feet. Ivar then misses a spin kick of doom, and AJ hits a Pele kick. Lee and Dragon Lee and Eric then tag in, and Lee hits a kick on Ivar, and he hits a head scissors on Eric. Lee then clotheslines Eric over the top rope. Lee then hits a leg sweep and slingshot on Ivar. Eric then puts Lee on the turnbuckles, but Lee stops Eric and puts him in the Tree of Woe. Lee then hits a double stomp and a jumping knee on Ivar. Lee then tries to get Ivar on his shoulders, and he falls under Ivar's weight. Lee then hits a rolling death driver. Lee then hits a running back elbow and gets a near fall. Ivar pushes Lee into the corner, and he misses on an elbow. Ivar then hits a seated splash, and Eric gets a hot tag. Dragon Lee hits a double Rana, and they go to the floor. Dragon then goes for the Rana over the top rope and to the floor. Lee then goes for the Rana over the top rope and to the floor, but Eric blocks it. Lee then hits a super kick, and Eric sends Lee to Ivar for a Viking experience on the floor. Ivar then goes up top, and Eric tags in. Ivar then hits a moonsault, and AJ breaks up the cover. AJ then pulls Lee into his corner for the tag, and Eric tags back into the match. AJ then hits a forearm on Eric, and Eric hits some kicks. AJ then hits a strike, but Eric hits a knee to the head and gets a near fall. Ivar then tags in, and he goes to the turnbuckles. Eric gives AJ to Ivar, and AJ hits a Rana, and Ivar goes into Eric. Dragon Lee then hits a flip dive on Eric. AJ then goes to the apron for the phenomenal forearm, and he gets the 1, 2, 3, and still your WWE Raw Tag Team Champions Dragon Lee and AJ Styles as they head to Saturday night's main event to face Javon Evans and TNA's Leon Slater. After the match, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, and Grayson Waller surround Dragon Lee and Styles. But out of nowhere, the Yeet Man, Jey Uso's music hit. He makes his way down to the ring alongside his brother Jimmy. That's something that we talked about a few weeks ago about the Usos going back into the tag team division. Jay then announces that the Usos are back in the tag team division, and Jimmy says he asked Jay what we're doing over the phone after he lost a semifinal match in the last time is now tournament to initiate their tag team reunion. Jay then puts New Day and Dragon Lee and AJ Styles on notice before the Usos take out Kofi and Xavier. Grayson Waller then hops out of the ring before the Usos can take him out, and the Usos stare down Dragon Lee and AJ Styles as Lee and Styles hold up the World Tag Team Championship belt. So I think WWE needs to make that transition over to the Usos winning those tag titles back. AJ and Dragon Lee's been great, but when the Usos had the titles, they were very elevated. So the Usos are back, and I can see them going for the tag championship soon. We then see Stephanie Valcour walking in the backstage area. So then they go through the match card for Saturday night's main event, which will be John Cena versus Gunther, Cody Rhodes versus Obafemi, Sol Ruka versus Bayley, and now announced tonight, Javon Evans and Leon Slater against AJ Styles and Dragon Lee. Jackie Redmond's in the ring, and she brings out WWE Women's Champion Stephanie Valcour. Stephanie comes out, and Jackie asks Stephanie who is next. Stephanie says she wants to face everyone. Stephanie then says she is not someone who talks too much. Stephanie then says she speaks through her actions. Stephanie then says she can prove why she is the best luchador on the planet. Stephanie then says it is not because of the devil's kiss. Stephanie then says she is the best, and Nikki is a legend. Stephanie then says today the women's division is different than 15 years ago. Stephanie then says we have Rhea Ripley, Bayley, Natty, Io Sky, and they are all amazing. And at that point, we hear Nikki Bella's music hit. She interrupts, makes her way to the stage. Nikki says Kansas City does not deserve someone like her. She then tells Stephanie that they are so not done. She then says she demands a rematch. So at that point, I thought, okay, here we go. Stephanie and Nikki again at Saturday night's main event. But out comes Raquel Rodriguez. She pulls Nikki off the apron, and she launch starts her into the ring post. And we don't see any more Nikki Bella. Raquel then enters the ring. She tells Stephanie to name the time and place, and she will take the title. So we're setting up a Raquel versus Stephanie Valcour women's championship match. We then see LA Knight walking in the backstage area. Byron Saxton is back on the balcony interview area as he is with Ivy Nile, Brutus Creed, and Julius Creed. Byron mentions Ivy's match against Maxine for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Byron asks Ivy how she would prepare to face her former best friend. Ivy says they were friends, but so what? Ivy says you have been a champion, and it's unbelievable that Maxine is a champion, and she is not. Ivy then says you will get your social media push now she is training with Natty. Ivy then says, is that what you want? Ivy then says she has been training like this her entire career. She said just because you're a champion, that does not make you better than her. Ivy then says you have never beaten her. Ivy then says you will drop the ball like the Kansas City Chiefs did last night, taking a shot at the Chiefs. Ivy then says no matter how much training you do, nothing will save the title from her. So backstage, we then see the Judgment Day in their clubhouse, and Finn says it was an easy night for him. Finn says Dominic's deadbeat dad kicked and stomped him. So Liv steps in, and she says she wants to know what Raquel did. Raquel then says Nikki cost her a title match last time, and she wanted to stop her. Liv then says she wishes she was told. So they're already planting some seed for the whole breakup of Liv. Is going to end up going against Raquel and Roxanne at one point in time, or in the near future. Roxanne then says she didn't know that she had to get Liv's approval. Raquel then says she is going to talk to Pierce about the title match. Liv then tells Roxanne that she will be in her corner because they are going to be the next tag team champion. So it's like they pivoted away from Liv and Stephanie and moved to Raquel and Stephanie. So it just changes everything up. Finn says to Dom that is really good for them. So then out in the crowd, they show Sol Ruka, and she's in the front row for the next match because she's obviously going to be facing Bailey Saturday night's main event. Lyra and Bailey then make their way down to the ring, and then also Roxanne, accompanied by Liv Morgan. The match starts off with Roxanne rolling away from Lyra, but Lyra blocks a second attempt, and Lyra backs Roxanne into a corner, and they lock up. Lyra then cinches in a wrist lock, and she hits a Northern Lights suplex for a near fall. Lyra then hits a hammerlock using her leg, and she ties up the arm and leans back for a near fall. Perez then goes into the ropes, and she punches Lyra. Lyra then hits a leg sweep and a drop kick. Lyra then hits another Northern Lights suplex for a near fall. Perez then goes to the floor, and Lyra hits a drop kick through the ropes, but Perez blocks it. Lyra then kicks Perez away. Perez then cinches in a hammerlock, and she sends Lyra shoulder first into the ring steps. Perez then pulls the shoulder into the ring and steps a number of times on her. Roxanne then stands on the arm on the ring steps and wraps the arm in the ropes, and she kicks the arm. Lyra hits some forearm, but Perez reverses and hits an STO, and she also drops a knee on the injured arm. Roxanne chokes Lyra on the ropes. Roxanne then gets a near fall. Lyra then hits some forearm, but Roxanne sends Lyra to the mat, and she tries to stomp on the elbow. Lyra then moves and grabs the leg. Lyra then hits some forearms, but it's reversed. Roxanne hits a Northern Lights suplex, and she gets a near fall. Roxanne then hits a flatliner DDT, and she continues to work on the arm. Perez then sits in an armbar. Lyra then stomps on Perez to get out of the hold. Lyra then hits a crossbody for a near fall, and Perez bridges out of the cover. But Lyra gets another roll-up for a near fall. Perez then hits a jackknife, but Lyra counters with a sit-out powerbomb, and she cannot capitalize because of the damage to the arm. Lyra then hits some clotheslines, hits a back heel kick, and some more kicks. She then misses an enziguri, but Perez misses a cartwheel knee drop. Lyra then hits a drop kick through the ropes, and she sends Perez back into the ring. Lyra then goes up top, and she hits a crossbody for a near fall. Roxanne then blocks a suplex, and Roxanne goes for an armbar. Lyra then drops Perez on the apron, and Perez drops Lyra on the top rope. Perez then hits a La Mystica and a cartwheel knee drop for a near fall. Roxanne then cinches in a Fujiwara armbar. Lyra counters and goes for a powerbomb, but Perez blocks it. Roxanne hits a back heel kick, goes for a back heel kick, blocked by Lyra. Lyra hits a leg trap German suplex. Lyra then gets Perez up for the Nightwing, but Liv distracts the referee. Roxanne Perez breaks the eyes. Bailey then pulls Liv off the apron. Perez hits a drop kick through the ropes on Bailey. Lyra then gets an inside cradle for almost a 3 count. Lyra then goes for a Nightwing, but Perez hits an elbow. Lyra gets the O'Connor roll, and Lyra is hit by Liv on the apron. And then Roxanne Perez turns it and hits the pop rocks for the 1, 2, 3. Big win tonight for Roxanne Perez with the assist of Liv Morgan. Byron Saxton is on the balcony again with the New Day. Kofi asks if that happened. Kofi then said, did the Usos stick their nose in their business? Kofi then said, do they think they can come and go as they please? Kofi then says they are the greatest tag team in history and the titles belong to them. Xavier says the Usos told the truth about all the L's you have taken. Xavier then says, next week you can add another one. So it looks like next week we're going to have the Usos going up against the New Day. Xavier then says, to get a title match, you have to go through them. Says it does not matter if you bring the face paint, the Ulafala, or your father with the bad BMI. They are going to bury you under the Uso penitentiary. So then we go to another vignette of Maxine Dupree. Last week they showed her and like she was kind of struggling, wanting to give up. But this week she is like full like beast mode, Maxine, 100%. Maxine taps and she's tapping out a number of people. And she says she wants more. Then Natty then tells Maxine to try it on her. Maxine then makes Natty tap out and says she wants to do it again. So they are really hyping Maxine up here. So we get to the main event of the evening. LA Knight makes his way down to the ring. And Logan against Logan Paul, accompanied by Paul Heyman. The match starts off with Logan punching LA Knight. Logan then gets some more punches. He hits an Irish whip, but Knight hits a clothesline off the corner. LA Knight then punches Logan and sends him into the turnbuckles. Knight then suplexes Logan back into the ring and gets a near fall. Knight then clotheslines Logan over the top rope, but Logan moves and Knight goes to the apron. LA Knight then hits a clothesline off the apron and he rearranges the announce desk. Logan then hits Knight from behind and he sends Knight into the apron. Logan then hits a punch and Knight pulls Logan to the floor. Knight then sends Logan's head into and near the announce desk. LA Knight sends Logan back into the ring and Knight hits an elbow across the edge of the apron. LA then hits a slingshot shoulder tackle for a near fall. LA Knight then sends Logan to the turnbuckles and follows it up with an Irish whip. Logan then hits a boot and a clothesline. Logan hits another kick and a punch to LA Knight, but then he goes for another one. He misses, lands on his feet, and hits a belly to back suplex. Logan then hits a zigzag for a near fall, Dolph Ziggler move. Logan then hits some more punches in the corner and then hits a running uppercut. He chokes Knight in the ropes. Logan hits a boot to the head and he poses before hitting a split leg drop and gets a near fall. LA Knight then hits some punches. Logan then hits a knee to the midsection. Logan kicks Knight in the corner. Logan then hits some forearms and he goes to the turnbuckles for some punches, but Logan is dropped on the turnbuckle. Knight then hits several punches, but he misses a discus clothesline. Logan then hits a hot shot and a over bomb for a near fall. Logan then punches Knight. Knight then hits some punches of his own. Logan hits a kick and Knight hits a flying clothesline. LA Knight hits a side Russian leg sweep. Then LA Knight hits an Irish whip and a leaping net breaker for a near fall. LA then hits a running hip attack into the corner. He puts Logan on the turnbuckles and Knight goes up top. Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed make their way down to the aisle. Logan then punches Knight off the turnbuckle. Logan hits a crossbody for a near fall. Logan then kicks Knight. Knight escapes a gut wrench into a reverse DDT. Knight then goes to the turnbuckles for the catchphrase double jump elbow drop and he hits it. Knight then sets up for the BFT and Braun gets on the apron. Knight punches Braun. Reed then hits a headbutt and the referee does not see it, but then he turns around and sees that LA Knight's down and then he kicks Braun and Bronson out of the match. Knight then hits a dropkick through the ropes and then punches Logan. And then here comes again the masked person that cost the face team in War Games on Survivor Series makes his way out again. He hits a stomp on LA Knight from the outside. Again, this masked man is like appearing in all the Vision stuff. So, and I don't know, the stomp looks a lot like Seth Rollins, but I don't think it is. Logan then hits a frog splash for the 1-2-3. After the match, Logan holds Knight for a spear. They pull Knight into position for a tsunami. Reed then goes up top again and hits another one. Officials then make their way down to the ring to check on Knight. They then roll LA Knight to the floor. So LA Knight is hurt bad at this point. Paul Heyman takes the mic Heyman introduces himself and the rest of the people in the ring. Heyman then says he truly doesn't understand what you are booing. Heyman then says, when you live in a hellhole such as Kansas City, what can you say? Heyman then says he cannot tell. Heyman says one thing that he can tell is that on January 5th, you have a new heavyweight champion, and his name will be Braun Breaker. That will be the anniversary Raw on Netflix, where Braun Breaker will be going up against CM Punk for the world title. So Braun gets on the mic. He says he has one question. Where is CM Punk? Braun then says he is not here because if he was here, there would be 2 losses in back-to-back days in Kansas City. Another shot to the Chiefs. Braun then says he is not asking where is Punk physically, but where is Punk? Braun then says he does not buy the nice guy Punk. Braun then says he comes back and is the nicest guy ever and takes photos with the talent to make everyone think he is a great guy. Braun then says Punk is a fraud. Braun says, imagine preaching your entire career that you're a straight edge, and it turns out you look like you're the biggest crackhead you've ever seen. Braun then says he doesn't want to face the new nice guy on January 5th. Braun then said you might as well stay home and vacate the title because he would beat that guy easily. Braun then says he wants the old CM Punk, the guy from 2011, 2012, and 2013. He says the guy who beat The Rock and was champion for 434 days. Braun then says he wants to face the guy that he thought was the greatest when he was a kid. Braun then begs for the old CM Punk because he wants to beat the greatest superstar to lace their boots. Braun then says if not, he starts ripping his shirt off. He said he will destroy him and take his title. Braun then says he will take Punk's title and also take his wife too. So this was a wild promo from Braun Breaker. Definitely taking some shots. We then see LA Knight in the back, and while they're still talking, you can see him on the Jumbotron. He tells the official he is not done. Bronson Reed and Logan Paul immediately take off to the back. Braun then tells Punk he will keep it real simple for him. He says it will be spear 1, 2, 3. Braun then rips off his shirt and repeats himself. Logan and Bronson in the back, they grab LA Knight into a storage case, throw him into a storage case, and punch him. Knight starts to fight back, but Logan and Bronson attack Knight and security. Bronson Reed then hits a power bomb through a table. Reed then says they run WWE. Knight then tries to get up, so Reed and Logan resume the attack. Reed then hot shots Knight onto a vehicle out there. I mean, they're beating the crap out of LA Knight. Logan hits some knee. They then put Knight on the hood of the vehicle. Logan hits some punches. Reed then hits a tsunami off the storage case onto LA Knight, the third tsunami. Officials and Adam Pearce then check on LA Knight immediately as the show comes to a close. So, yeah, it looks like LA Knight is going to be off of TV for a while. That was a pretty vicious attack tonight. I'll expect him back probably around Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber. It looks like that was a way to write LA Knight off of TV for a while. But like I said, sorry I ran late tonight, guys. I was sweating out the football game, but I do appreciate everyone for tuning in to the late edition of the Raw Recap. It was a great show. Definitely a great go-home show for Saturday night's main event. We got 4 matches now made official for the card. We have one more show Friday before the big Saturday night's main event Saturday night. So shout out to DWE, Gimmick Table Media. Also shout out to After Slam Podcast, the newest member of DWE. Make sure you give all of them a follow and a subscription on YouTube, Talk It Up Wrestling, and also After the Slam, Kicking Out at 2, and the Wrestling Divas Podcast. So I'm going to go to my outro, and I'll be back to tell you where you can find me on my socials and what I have coming up for you for the rest of the week.
CJP's your guide, let's start the show. Tag teams breaking, factions shaking. He's got the scoop for moves they're faking. Belt on the line, dreams on display. The EVP show keeps the drama in play. It's good. Let's go where the heroes rise and the legends grow. CJP brings the shots. You know the EVP show is out of control.
Let's go. Like I said, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I give Raw about 8 tonight. It was the go home Raw before Saturday night's main event. Sorry I started an hour late. The stupid football game should have ended. The Eagles should have won. Oh God, I can't believe I started Jalen Hurts. I've worked all season to get to the playoffs, and I've started Hurts and he throws 4 picks tonight. It's unbelievable. But anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. So as far as socials, you can find me on X at EVPCJP, Instagram as well at EVPCJP. If you're looking for me on TikTok, it's at Brady BRADYDAGOAT21 at Brady the Goat 21. And most importantly, on my YouTube channel, please, guys, if you're not watching right now because it's super late, you watch tomorrow, hit the like and comments. Leave me some comments, and I will get back to them. It puts my channel and my videos in the algorithm, and I definitely will appreciate it. So definitely subscribe to the EVP Show. And you can find that at the EVP Show on YouTube. So what I have coming up in store tomorrow, well, it's already midnight Eastern here, but later on Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern, I will be back with Miami the Great to cover Week 14, a miserable Week 14 of the NFL recap at 6 p.m. Eastern. Later on that night, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, I will be back for the NXT recap. What will be the fallout from NXT Deadline? Blake Monroe will be having an open challenge for the Women's North American Championship. Jordan Grace and Kalani Jordan also. So it looks to be, and Shallow Hill is going to make his debut. Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, join me and Miami the Great again from DWE for the Saturday night main event prediction show. 7 p.m. Eastern, live here on the EVP Show and X, my X and Miami's X. So do not miss Wednesday night, 7 p.m. as we will be making our predictions for Saturday night's main event. And then I'm back Friday night for the Go Home Show right before Saturday night's main event for your SmackDown recap at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. And last but not least, it is the Last Time Is Now tournament match for John Cena. It's his retirement match Saturday. So the Saturday night's main event. You can catch me live on the EVP Show as soon as it goes off the air at 11 p.m. Eastern, as I will break down the Saturday night's main event's full card and go into John Cena's retirement match. So full-fledged slate this week, guys, and then obviously next week will kind of simmer down a little bit. There won't be any PLEs or anything until we get to the 1st of January. So yeah, this is the last busy, super busy week until we kick off the new year. And then obviously we have the first Raw on Netflix, followed by New Year's Evil. That being said, guys, I appreciate you guys tuning in tonight to the Raw recap. If you haven't watched it now, make sure you tune in to the replay on X or on my YouTube channel. And please hit the like and subscribe to the EVP Show. I am the EVP of the EVP Show and the Golden Boy of DWE. And I am out, and I will see you guys tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern for the NFL Week 14 recap show with Miami the Great. Good night, everyone.